Oh, hello. Welcome to the Inward, Onward, and Upward show. I'm your host, Hood Heru. And for today's podcast, we'll be speaking to some of our community members and tribes members. Today, I have one of my clients with us today, Dr. Jeanine Williams, and she's going to tour us with her initiative called Ancestors Bosom. Today, we're going to be speaking about, as we often do, conscious awareness, spiritual awakenings, and empowering the communities, specifically women and their initiatives and stories. Today, I'd love for one of my clients, friends, and family members, Jeanine, to speak to us about an initiative that she's creating within her works, loosely titled Coming Home to Self. And how I interpret that is uh, a path that we're all taking, which is understanding the distance from our organic and natural selves and the work and enjoying the journey and returning to ourselves. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Dr. Jeanine Williams and her Ancestors Bosom. Hey, Dr. Jeanine.
Um, Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm
I
so
want to start.
excited. She's been a little nervous.
Listen, but that's all right. We're about to do this thing, right? So I am
Mhm.
very grateful to be invited into this sacred container that has been so helpful to me. So pivotal to me in this journey. And so I'm excited to come and share what is kind of being birthed as a result of my work with you and just kind of my own journey. So yeah, Dr. Jeanine, that's who I am. But I'm a mother of three wonderful teenagers. I'm a professor by training with a background in psychology, human development, language literacy, and culture. But more recently, and I'm really excited about this, I've embraced my abilities as an intuitive healer and coach. I am embracing myself as the deeply spiritual, divine feminine that I am. I'm currently studying ancestry, the proud founder of Ancestors Bosom, which is a community focused on reconnecting to ancestral wisdom and ways of life. And if I can just give a little introduction, a little more of an introduction to Ancestors Bosom, it was really born out of my feeling disillusioned and totally abused by a profession and field that I have dedicated my entire adult life to. And I can remember around this time last year thinking, man, there has to be more to life than this. I mean, here I was at the top of my game professionally, highly successful, working for social justice, systemic change, doing everything right, seemingly, right? But feeling tired, angry, and exploited, just on an ongoing basis. So I started being more intentional about my time, my effort, and my energy, and really pulling it back from all fruitless endeavors. I started resting more. And it was in my rest time that I really started thinking about the kind of life that I wanted to live. The more I thought about it, um, to be honest, the more resigned I felt about improving higher education. I just realized that wasn't really even my path anymore. I wanted a more peaceful, restful, and abundant life. I wanted more simplicity and more ease. I wanted out of grind culture, hustle culture. Um, and quite frankly, I was done being driven by capitalism, suffering under patriarchy, sexism, racism, and all of these exploitive, soul crushing world systems. And so one day I was on my deck enjoying my rest practice, and it came to me that it was time to return to the wisdom of my ancestors. Like it was time to reclaim indigenous ways of knowing, being, and doing. Like it was time, like to rest in my birthright, right? Of abundance, protection, and love. It was time to rest into the bosom of my ancestors, right? And this isn't just something that I felt like I wanted for myself and for my kids. I want this for humanity. So instead of toiling with these soul crushing systems and trying so hard to get a quote unquote seat at the table of the oppressors, I'm divesting from all of that. And I'm working to create community that prioritizes liberation, being aligned mind, body, and spirit with who we are truly meant to be. And for me, this is reclaiming and reconnecting to ancestral wisdoms and ways of living. And so that's pretty much the soul of Ancestors Bosom. For now, I am just offering the one-on-one intuitive healing and coaching. I have some healing crystal jewelry, but more is in the works to have an apothecary specializing in herbal medicine and ancestral healing modalities. Having a large parcel of land to host healing and rest retreats and to collaborate with some more with you. But it'll be natural and organic and sustainable. We'll grow our own food and herbs and embody the ancestral way. And so Ancestors Bosom will be this beacon and guide for people to come home to themselves.
Ashe. I love that. I respect that. I appreciate that. And I know so many of us are looking for safe spaces as well as safe leaders to navigate our own personal worlds. And I know so many women are looking forward to these conversations.
This and you've shared some of what that means to you. But for me, coming home to myself has meant digging deep into my shadows. All right. So this ain't a cakewalk, y'all. This is this is serious stuff, right? And to kind of digging into my trauma, my wounding, my programming, like digging into all of that, facing my so-called demons, right? And really being honest with myself about the ways that I have been complicit in my misery, right? I know this, right? It done took a turn. It done took a turn, right?
Complicit in our misery.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's meant getting clear about what it is that I desire and deserve out of life, right? And it's meant then shedding off anything and everything that's not aligned with the life that I want to live.
Can we
So
unpack that
that's what
more?
this coming home
Or
to myself
can you
meant to
share
me.
maybe like a personal perspective of how you may have been complicit in misery and how it can be popular for women to find themselves in these environments?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's just so much part of our program to be the good girl, right? To people please, to um continually like abandon ourselves in all relationships as a wife, as a mother, a girlfriend, as a daughter, and all of these things, just slowly but surely squelching any sense of agency, any sense of self and intuition, um, that we have, that we inherently have. We kind of push that to the side, to do what we feel, whether real or imagined, is required or expected of us from society and those
I
around
hear you.
us, family,
So,
friends.
so
Hmm.
sacrifice is inherently incorporated into the identity, or expected to be inside of the identity.
Yes. Oh, it is like, and I mean, like dying on your
Mhm,
sword, you know, for anything and everything outside of yourself.
mhm.
Being um selfless, but in this soul crushing way. It is, and I mean that's championed. That is, really pushed. I mean, that's how you know that you're a good mother or a good wife or a good girlfriend or a good daughter, a good friend, is that you constantly deny yourself, in pursuit of elevating others.
Amazing
Um,
point. Amazing landing point. And so
yeah.
I guess the work now
Mhm.
is learning
Mhm.
how we can include ourselves in our considerations as much as we consider others.
Absolutely, absolutely. My daughter asked me, just a couple days ago. She said, "Do you love me more than yourself?" And I said,
Ah,
"Absolutely not." And she was like, "What?" I mean, she was appalled. Now she would have asked me this 10 years ago. Oh, yes, baby, yes, or whatever, And she said, "So you wouldn't, like, if my life was on the line and you could save me, you wouldn't save me, you wouldn't die for me?" I said, "I would absolutely, I would absolutely do what I could as a mother to preserve your life. But in terms of me loving you, I don't love anything or anybody more than I love myself, right? And it's from that place of love, self love, that I can love her and decide that I would, preserve her life at any cost, right? So that was an interesting thing, and I think, like where this kind of began for me, this personal journey into this, where this has began for me. I mean, like now I can look and I can see that this awakening into prioritizing, loving Jeanine, started early on in those moments in life where I questioned authority, right? Or as my mom would sometimes call me, hard-headed and rebellious. I just had a sense, right? This sense of wanting to try things my own way. I knew something. I didn't know how I knew it, but I knew things and I wanted to trust myself. So that desire has always been in me. But I think more recently in my adult life, there have been these pivotal moments that have kind of propelled me forward on this path. One being, waking up one day as a 37-year-old wife and mother of three and feeling like I was living in somebody else's life. It just didn't feel like it didn't feel. I felt so dissociated. It was creepy, Um, ultimately getting divorced and being thrust into single motherhood. That was also something else that really kind of boom, boom, pushed me into this awakening, into this kind of coming home to myself. A couple other points too. I spent summer 2021 in Bermuda. My kids at that time were at their father's house for the whole summer. I had summers off. And I started seeing the number 123 pretty much everywhere every day. Like it was weird. Even, I would go to, go in the coffee maker. The time would be wrong, but it would be saying 1, 2, 3, 4, or a receipt or like, so just even like, whoa, what's up with this? Right. And even looking into that, stumbling across you on TikTok one night and getting a free reading. That was when you did like free readings. Like you had to put your name real quick and this reading rocked my world, but at the same time resonated with me on a soul level. And from there, realizing that I had a mother wound, working through that and realizing, oh snap, I got a father wound too. And ultimately just understanding that I had this lost and lonely inner child, like who has spent her life abandoning herself, right? And here she is at this, age, and now looking for love and healing and misaligned romantic partners, fearful, and so conscious, so scarcity conscious. And it was wrecking my financial life. And so it was so many things that put me on this path intentionally, consciously at this state. Yeah. So
Beautiful. I'm not writing notes like we're in session, but I just got to get some of these pointers that you're doing.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. And so, I mean, a little bit. So, how did I navigate that path? Because that's always a thing too. Okay, so all right, all hell broke loose. You see a number. You ain't married no more. All of this. What would seem like this messy life, and it did feel messy, but gosh, it was so beautifully messy, and that all the pieces have been knocked off the table. Like, I mean, there was nothing, it was nothing more, it was nothing to lose, if you will. And I had this great opportunity to put it all together in a new way, in a way that was more aligned for me. And so I really have navigated this path. It started with, connecting with tarot and oracle decks, and just using that as a way to connect spiritually to myself. One of the things I did recognize early on in working with tarot was that there is no magic in the cards. The magic is me, right? And using the cards as a way to connect with that. Like, so as a psychology person, right, we know about the ink blots, right? And, the therapist will put up an ink blot and the patient, the client would come up with a whole elaborate story. It wasn't the ink blot. It was a way to connect with what was going on energetically internally within the client. And so that was the way that I used tarot, intuitive tarot. I used it in that way. Then connecting with you and your ministry, I'll call it that, because this is soul work. This is soul work on a deep level that you do. And then seeking out just kind of insight and wisdom in the social media space, which you have to be careful with. But I mean, that's how I started, and that's how a lot of people start, seeing affirmations and things that resonate. Okay, yes, and finding our way. Then I really started shedding my religious programming. I'm a preacher's daughter, y'all. So, I mean, my goodness, right? We can have a whole podcast on that. And let me be very clear. that I will always cherish and respect my upbringing and the religious teaching that my parents gave me as their best offering, right, to lead me on the path the right way. And so but I had to connect with my own sense of spirituality. And so I respect and I carry with me some of those traditions. They are part of my history and who I am, but I'm also free to do what resonates most with me and my spirit, And so that was part of it for me. I started connecting with my ancestors.
Yes.
Right. I know some people get spooked out by that, but that's real. We are our ancestor. I am my ancestor. Like I just am. They are because they are in me. It's no way to separate that. And drawing on just the wealth of wisdom and knowledge, gifts, guidance that I can find in my communion with my ancestors. And more importantly, though, like this is the part where it really started shifting for me. I was looking outwardly. I think coming to my own sense of spirituality and connecting with my ancestors was a step a little bit in, but now connecting with my own intuition and psychic capabilities, like realizing my power, that there is nothing outside of me that's more than me. And that can work in in tandem, or in concert with external things, but nothing external trumps Jeanine. Nothing external trumps
Blah,
me,
blah, blah.
and so
That's right.
yes, so the more I walk this path, the more I connect to my power, and I have accepted my path and calling as an intuitive healer. I mean, for me to even say this out loud in public, like I felt this for so long, and I remember the day it hit me, and I was afraid of it. But now, hey, it's who I am. And if it doesn't resonate with you, that's fine, because I'm not assigned to you. That's fine. Hey, no harm, no foul. Go in peace, right? But I'm gonna be over here doing what it is that I'm called to do. And I know that my spiritual assignment is to hold space for others, especially women, as they find their way back to themselves. And so all of this that I have gone through has this deeper purpose. So I've connected with my power. I'm living life in ways that I can't even, I don't even have the words for how aligned I am, how restful, how peaceful, how at ease I am. How, when people ask me, like my family, how are you doing? I never knew I could do this good. I never knew I could feel this good. I'm more me than I ever knew could be me.
That's right.
And I want this not just for myself. I want this for the collective. I want this for other women. And and women are so important. As a mother, I think about how I am this portal of life, and physically life, but also, like, as my children are coming into young adulthood, I'm a portal of spirituality, of wisdom and of light. And not for them to be dependent on me, but for me to train them and teach them to connect with their own, right? um, so that they can then go out and live the lives and find their own spiritual assignment and move in that way. And so that's the draw for women. And it's not that, oh, men don't need, no, because I like me some men, it's good, but there's something about the woman as this oracle, as a conduit of life, and what that means, and the connection that you have with those to whom you've birthed, whether you are birthed them, physically, or you're connected to them spiritually in some
I
way.
love that.
We are such a conduit, and that is why this separation, all this selflessness, this really self-abandonment under the guise of doing something good, is so toxic and so poisonous, because it disconnects us from our power.
Yeah.
And if we're disconnected from our power, we cannot
Empower, not
lead,
empower.
guide, and
That's
empower.
right.
Yes, those to whom are
That's
assigned
right.
to
Well,
us.
and that's why
And so we
I
stay
like
stuck.
how this session, this recording has gone full circle, where we've been able to identify and land. Hey, I feel disassociated because I am in this. I'm
Yes,
assigned to other people's lives, but I don't feel like I am a leader in their life. I feel like I'm a follower in their life.
yes,
So we're as a woman, we're
yes,
going full circle within our ancestor bosom to switch perspectives
yes,
to know that I am the
yes,
voice and the leader.
yes,
This has been
absolutely,
such an amazing
absolutely.
revelation, and I think it deserves many more episodes to be unpacked. What do you guys think, collective? Today, during our recording, Dr. Jeanine spoke about some amazing things that I really think deserve entire episodes of themselves. Speaking of lack consciousness and scarcity consciousness, speaking about the spiritual perspective
Mhm,
of a preacher's daughter, and learning how angel numbers can direct
mhm,
and guide us towards accepting the next phase in our life. So I think we're going to have Dr. Jeanine
absolutely,
on for a couple of episodes more. Maybe we'll make this a series. As we close out this episode, I just
absolutely,
want to thank you, Dr. Williams, for this moment. We look forward to hearing you in more
thank you.
transparency
Yes,
and authenticity as you lead yourself and
yes.
women alike. And thank you for being in community with me.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
How was this experience for you? And do you have any final points for our listeners?
No, I mean, this has been a great experience. And I mean, I was nervous, but I knew that once, I connected spiritually, that it would just flow. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for you and the way that the universe, my ancestors, led me to you on crazy TikTok.
Thanks, yo.
Out of all of that, I found you, and you've been so instrumental in this journey for me. And so to have this time to be here with you in this way, um, it's just amazingly beautiful, and I'm
I
grateful.
say it is.
Hmm.
Well, thank you, Dr. Williams.
Hmm.
And thank you, Collective, for
Yes.
tuning in to this episode of Inward, Onward, and Upward, where we speak about conscious awareness and applying spirituality into your manifestations. I hope that you receive some insight into how to be yourself, see yourself, and love yourself towards your truth. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you for listening. Bye bye, y'all.